Most small business owners don't fail because of a lack of passion. They fail because they're running blind. I'm Mark Andersen, and I help small business owners make data driven decisions using the information from their accounting records. My mission is simple. I want to make a dent in the small business failure rate by teaching you how to use your finances to make better decisions. Welcome to Business on the Run. Welcome back to Business on the Run with Mark Andersen. I am so blessed to be here with Josh Van Bramer with BetterFlow AI. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I always like to ask, basically, the first question I always like to ask is like, tell me the story about how you got here initially, right? Tell me your origin story from, I guess, kind of like graduating from college to the point that you are right now with BetterFlow AI.
Yeah, so I'll kind of start in college just because that's where my entrepreneurial spirit really started to drive. I mean, I Think and Grow Rich as a freshman, and I was like, oh, I can do more than just have a corporate job. So it didn't go much from there, but then COVID happened, and I just saw all the layoffs, and I saw how little control people had over their own destiny, really, at that point. So then after college, I actually went into life insurance, just 100% commission. I wanted to learn skills of how to grow a team and recruit, manage, lead, train, sell, yup, all of it. So that allowed me to then get the skill set I needed to go and start a business. I was very lucky that I had really good mentors, top down from the agency owner on, where I was really able to dive into the business too and get an understanding of what it means to run a business other than just building a team and selling a product. From there, I mean, I saw the AI rush and I saw tech and how it was booming. And I had a good friend of mine that was very good with computers. And funny enough, went into sales for a short minute after college as well. But we just partnered up and figured, hey, I'll take the sales and kind of outside part of the business back end, and then he'll be able to take all the development and managing clients and the technology behind it. So figured we just had a good partnership that we could run with and be able to create our own destiny instead of having to rely on a job, which as we're seeing, market isn't the best for jobs right now.
It's interesting that you say that. I know that I've had this conversation with my wife before, and that, you know, what is really diversified, right? Is it being a small business owner, having, dozens of clients, or is it being an employee where you're getting one paycheck from one employer, right? I mean, there's obviously risks with both, right? But that's kind of the way that I look at it is that my situation is less risky because I feel like I'm pretty well diversified income wise, right?
Yeah.
So it sounds like you kind of found that out yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was Bezos, but I could be wrong, that said if you have the chance to 100x what you're currently doing, you got to take that chance in
Of
this
course.
lifetime. So not that it may get to 100x, but hey, if we get to 20x of what we would normally maybe be doing, 10x, whatever it is, I mean, any multiple of it, even if we're just making a solid income, being able to own our own business, we then have the control, like you said, that diversification. We can start moving and meandering into different avenues of how we run our business if the market shifts. But market shifts and you lose your job, you're kind of back at square one.
Yeah, you sure are. You sure are. And it could lead to an exit one day,
Yeah.
right? And you end up selling something, and you'll have the opportunity to turn around and start something different, which would.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, really, the goal for me and my partner is that we're going to be able to grow at least a couple products. Maybe we'll want to keep our core business of BetterFlow, but we have a couple standalone products that we'd like to build, potentially grow and sell someday, and then be able to invest into small businesses across the country. And there's a lot of people that are doing this. They're going in and they're just completely tearing apart systems and firing people. I want to do it a little bit different, where we're going in and yes, using our own technology, AI, automations to improve the business, but I want to keep those core people there. And for those businesses that maybe are kind of just maintaining right now, and those business owners are, hey, how can I get to that next level? go buy a small piece of equity, or go buy them out and help them go reach those goals that they've always wanted to achieve, but not lose that core value of the business that they've had. Because that's what I'm seeing is a lot of people are buying these businesses, but now the core value of those businesses of staying local and helping out the small guy in the community is going away. And that's what we've built our whole business on, is being able to give solutions to small business owners that they normally wouldn't have access to until this new technological revolution that's really just increased the speed and decreased the cost of technology in total.
Yeah. So you mentioned a new product line. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, so we have one partner who he's a business consultant, and he came to me because he was talking about storm preparation. So it's funny that you brought that up just before this, storm preparation. And he was like, "Hey, I have a bunch of people I've been talking to about voice agents and voicemail agents with AI. So that's going to be, I mean, there's other products out there, but that's going to be one product we're releasing coming up, and trying to make it as simple as possible for everybody to just get it set up, because training AI can be really difficult. So, and if you're not technologically advanced or in the AI industry, it could be very overwhelming, even though you could do it. So, really just trying to make it as simple as possible with just type in what questions do you want asked, what do you need, and that way there doesn't need to be this continuous overhaul of what the system is for the business owner, and they can just turn it off based on storm season if they don't want it during or outside of storm season. So that's going to be one. We'll be able to help not just roofers. That's going to be probably our start, but then HVAC, electrical, plumbing, everybody who's just getting these high volume of calls, and then we'll kind of expand as we get closer towards winter, towards the Northeast, North Park, go snow plows, other services like that. I mean, obviously roofers are still dealing with the same thing up there, just with snow and hail. And then our second product that we're going to be coming out with is going to be our new transcription and business intelligence tool called Terran. So the other one's called Overflow Voice. And then this one will be trying to stay on that brand with Flow. And then we're going to have Terran, which we wanted to humanize it, because that's really what we want to do, is bring the human connection to technology. So what it's going to do is going to be able to analyze all of your conversations from voice, email, really just as much permission as you actually give it to look at. And that way it'll pull all the information. So since the last time we talked, you could prompt it, the chatbot, to ask, "Hey, what was the last thing me and Josh actually talked about?" Because you knew the general conversation we had, but what was, if I was a prospect, what was the last thing that I said was the biggest reason I wanted to switch to a new vendor of my choice? So being able to just stay right on tabs. It's also going to be able to fill documents for you. So if you have a service agreement, you upload that document, and it'll find the blank spaces in there, so that when you're going through the conversation, you agree on a scope of a project and a price, then it'll fill all that information in, and you'll be able to send it right at the end of the meeting automatically. And essentially it's going to become like a business Jarvis for you from Iron Man, where you'll just say here with your phone, "Hey, update Josh in the CRM to prospect," and move him to client, update his phone number in the system, and just be able to do everything autonomously. Because I've worked with plenty of CRMs and being in sales, and I mean, that takes up at least an hour of your day as a salesperson if you're not doing much business. Really, your own Salesforce, you have all these different steps you have to do, as an example, to get one person from just added into the system to a closed status. That's going to take you 30 minutes if you have everything already done and ready for it.
Yeah.
So just trying to make that as simple as possible, as automated as possible, because there's great CRMs out there. Salesforce has so many great tools, but people just don't use it because they don't want to take the time to use it. So we're trying to automate that through just being able to talk to your phone, talk to your laptop, and have everything just updated, so that way you're not constantly managing these back end details.
Interesting. So you mentioned Think and Grow Rich earlier. So tell me, what are like your top 3 favorite business bugs?
So Think and Grow Rich, it's always going to be my number one, just because that's what really started me with seeing the vision going forward. Yeah, And I think just it helps you realize your true potential. And I'll never sell myself short, and I can't have any regrets at that point because I've given everything my all. My second would How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. So it's basic conversation skills. And that's all it's really going to be. I mean, anything. I I have an interesting view where I'm like, I want everything from the 80s and before that, right? I want to listen to Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Dale Carnegie, all these legends in business and sales because that's where everybody's getting their information from anyways. So I want to go right to the source, not get somebody else's interpretation
Somebody
of it.
else's spin on it.
Exactly. You go onto YouTube and you have somebody reviewing Think and Grow Rich, you're going to get a different viewpoint than if you actually read it and had your take. But then on my third one would probably be, honestly, A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. That was that book right towards the end of college, and I think it was great in framing how to just think about daily life so that you don't get caught up in the monotonous parts of it, but also the trials and tribulations that you will inevitably face. Doesn't matter how perfect of a life you have, something's going to come and screw that up at some point. So I think it helped me stay level as I've gone through some trials and tribulations in my life to realize, hey, there's something way worse going on that I
Just look what he went through.
exactly. But then just the principles in that book in general and logotherapy and
Find my version. I've got all three of those books
yeah,
surprisingly, but I have not read um, that the Viktor Frankl book in quite a while.
yeah. And then if I was to add another one, I think The Alchemist by Paul Coelho.
Okay.
Little bit more spiritual, but I mean, that was just one of the best stories I've ever read. He really built it well, the same way as Monk Who Sold His Red Ferrari, right? It's kind of like this story that has these lessons built into it. That's the same with The Alchemist, and I literally read it in one night. It's only not a huge book; it's like 200 pages, but I read it in one night because it was just such an enticing story and how he guided you through it.
A lot of the books these days are, I mean, first of all, many of them are written by ghostwriters, and second of all, they've books have become promotional pieces for the sales pipeline. It's a low level lead magnet is what it is, or a low cost lead magnet, right? The philosophy being if you can sell them something low dollar, they'll come back to you and buy something more high dollar, right? So that's the unfortunate thing about books, I think, in current day in relation to yesteryear, if you will, where the books of yesteryear were written because people wanted to really figure something out, right? Like Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich, for example. He didn't do that to, you know,
Yeah.
sell more services. I mean, that may have been the outcome for him, but now it's like people write books intentionally for the purpose of selling more.
Yeah, I mean, you think about how to win friends and influence people. Yes, Dale Carnegie was a public speaker. He was doing sales training, but he published that to get more exposure to the concepts
Yeah.
all across the country, not to get people to sign up for his class.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he wanted to be able to have
Motivations were
everybody-
different.
Yeah, it was just a lot more. He wanted the accessibility to the everyday person because he started out as an everyday guy, just on the streets, basically selling. So that's why I love looking back on those and Zig Ziglar. I mean, his
I love Zig Ziglar.
the book. I think it's what Secrets of Selling, where he has the 160 different closes in the book. That was one of the most fun reads I've had because
Oh,
you just got I could get so creative with it.
Yeah, and he's written a lot more books than the other three authors. you
Yeah.
mentioned, that's for sure. But he's another one of my favorite authors.
Yeah.
But anyway, so tell me a little bit about like some of the obstacles that you and your partners have had to overcome with your business and starting.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I think it's a little bit unique in the AI industry because things are moving so fast. Obviously, if you're a home services business, the way to fix broken pipes as a plumber is not going to change. So that's been one of the biggest things is just meandering this Amazon river almost of just nobody knows what's going to come next. And if it's going to destroy your product. If like Anthropic comes out with something that is exactly what you just did, are you going to be able to keep any sort of market share after that? So for us, it's just really been getting into the mindset that focus on today more than anything, because we can get so caught up in what's going to happen and come out tomorrow. But if we just keep focusing on today, there's plenty of money out there for everybody to be making money. So it was really getting into a mindset of abundance, to be able to realize, hey, if we have the right product and we price it fairly, even if it's not cheaper than somebody else, if we have the right product, people are going to be attracted to it. And then it's just been not sticking to one business model. Because when you start a business, it becomes your baby and you don't change it. You want it to grow up exactly the way that you envisioned it to happen. But that's not reality at the end of the day. So we've had to change models where we started out just doing more AI automations and agents, and then quickly shifted to almost more software with AI and automations on top of it, because AI agents are only as good as the data that they can use as context. So if you don't have all your data in one software that it's referencing, it's not really giving you optimal feedback. It's like if I was to tell I mentioned like planning a vacation with Claude or ChatGPT. If you just say, hey, send me on a vacation, it's going to send you to Bali, Los Angeles, New York. It's going to send you all over the place. But if you tell it, hey, I want a honeymoon vacation on a beach where it's going to be like 80 degrees in September, right? It's going to know here are 3 exact locations that convert that to that destination you're looking.
The more specific you are with AI, the better your results are.
Exactly, and telling it what not to do. So that's almost more important than telling it what to do. Is don't do X, Y, or Z when you're prompting it, because then it's like process of elimination.
So one of the things I did with my ChatGPT account is I went into the kind of the settings for it, and I basically said, don't ever lie to me or guess or placate me, right? I want the unvarnished truth, right? And I've gotten a lot more effective and beneficial results, right? So it's kind of interesting how if you're specific, you can get some pretty good things done.
Yeah, exactly. So once we started going towards that software direction, we started building custom software solutions and workflows, whether it's a simple CRM that really just fits a niche industry. Like we had a mortgage loan officer that she likes some of the CRMs out there, but nothing fit her systems and flows properly. So she wanted to just have something built around her business.
Okay.
Right. So that's really the concept of is building your software around your business as opposed to your business around your software, where then there's going to be this friction in terms of data inputting or however the software wants the flow to work. But from there, we've had to now adjust again, where custom software can be a bit vague for people. So we need to be able to establish trust and credibility. So one way we found is just taking some of these products that we've given and put in place for clients, pulling out pieces and putting that into a standalone product. Because now that opens up conversations, because you can have it for individuals or business accounts with whole teams, but then we can open up that conversation to custom software. If you come on our Terran app and you have 10 salespeople, okay, well, what does your guys' CRM currently look like? How do we want to integrate with that? Oh, we don't really like it. Okay, do you want us to build you one? So it gives us another avenue to still get our final purpose of building custom software. But then we can also still help out more people, because an individual entrepreneur, solopreneur may not need our software as much, but they could really find a lot of value in a business intelligence tool that connects to their current softwares. Because if you're using Go High Level, that's enough as a solopreneur a lot of the time. But if we can connect to your Go High Level and now automate that and make it more efficient, now you're not spending an hour or 2 a day working in it to manage all your data.
Yeah.
You can just speak to it, 15 minutes of talking throughout the day to it basically, and then have that extra hour and 45 minutes to go sell more products that you're trying to sell, or make that extra strategy and do more research, because now you have all this extra time. You can do anything you want with it. Maybe it is spending just more time with family at that point, because you didn't plan to have that time originally.
Right, right. Um, so tell me a little about like where you guys operate, because you and the three partners, you're all in different locations, correct?
Well, I'm down here in Houston. My original partner, our co-founder, CEO, who does all the development, is up in Rochester, which is where I'm originally from. So that's how we grew up together. And then he went to college with a friend that is going to be our chief marketing officer, and he's over in Buffalo. So they're not too far apart, but we are working virtual right now. But we went to college during
And your
COVID.
geographic reach is wherever you guys, it doesn't matter. So what does your ideal client look like?
Ideal client is definitely a business that's looking to scale, because they're going off of these systems probably where they were on a free level of HubSpot, or they're on a low level of Go High Level Calendly, and they're doing all these different multiple subscription models. And we can come in and now build one full suite that encapsulates all of that. But now, as they continue to grow and have more employees and grow their business, maybe add extra products, we can scale that software with them, as opposed to they have 10 employees. This fits great now, but now they grow to 25 employees. You might need a new software at that point. So we can just go in and build around the current structure, as opposed to that business owner having to go back out on the market and do 10 more demos for the next 2 months, and all their research that they're trying to figure out what's the best option. And then you got to get onboarded again, right? So that's where our ideal client is somebody who's looking to grow and scale, and we can help grow and scale. It's also interesting because there's some software companies now that are also focusing almost on a business consultant side, where they're going to help you grow and scale so that you could also potentially exit someday. So that's been some research that we've been doing in the background, is how can we help these business owners, not just with their software, but how can we help them grow and scale if that's what they're looking to do, so that they could potentially exit and have a high quality business to be sold 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line, whatever that looks like. Because obviously you could have $10 million in revenue per year, but is that business truly something somebody wants to buy? Yeah, you could be bringing in that much money.
Depends.
Exactly. If you as the business owner are running the ship, you're still captaining everything, and haven't been able to delegate, nobody's going to want to buy that business.
100%. I can't tell you how many times I've said that. I mean, it is just so true. One other question, kind of a follow up on the ideal client question, though. You had mentioned roofers earlier, and
Yeah.
you had mentioned what was it, snowplows, I think,
Yeah.
as well. So apparently, you've got some clients that are kind of in those spaces, right? So is that fairly common, like contractor types, or are there any? Are there? What other industries are common for you, and are there any industries that maybe you don't do at all? Intentionally speaking, that
So
is.
the only ones we maybe shy away from a little bit are anything that has to do with HIPAA. Um, we can work with it. We've worked with HIPAA clients in the past, but when you're not a big software company yet, it can be difficult to hold all those licenses that you need and all the certifications. And I mean, it's expensive to be HIPAA compliant. So it's like with Terran, as we start to grow our user base, and because right now we're just in the beta, which will be it'll release live in the next month or so. But once we get our initial user base on, that's going to be our first investment in it, is to get that HIPAA compliance. But for individual softwares, it just depends. But it doesn't always make sense for us to be their best option when there's other companies out there that have that HIPAA compliance already down. So sometimes it's just a cost analysis. And excuse me, if I see someone and they say, "Hey, sorry, um, we want what you guys have, but it's just way out of our price range." Well, hey, here's the route that I think you guys should go, because this is X, Y, and Z cheaper, and they already have the HIPAA compliance built in. And then maybe we can integrate something with that software. just one small piece of it. I want to make sure that the business owners aren't dealing with any of the headaches that they normally do with software. So if that's what it is what it is. I mean, I need to look out. That's how you create not just a good client base, you create a community. And that's really what we want to be.
And a relationship. I mean, you're doing the right thing for the client by directing them someplace else. If you can't serve them the way they deserve to be served, and you help them get to the solution that they have the problem, or for the problem they have, then they're going to appreciate that in the future. So
Exactly. So I would say HIPAA is really one where we're just a little bit more cautious, but we're still open to conversations with. But our main businesses we've worked with have been commercial cleaning businesses, a few sales organizations for CRMs. It's really industry agnostic. At the end of the day, it's custom, so it's just we're always open to conversations. We always love partnerships. So if somebody has a great idea, we're always open to partnerships and seeing, is this something that we can take to market together? If you have some good connections and some good knowledge and experience in an industry, we like being able to also help business owners maybe create an additional revenue stream by creating something very unique because they have a unique perspective on their business. Um, so yeah, I mean that is what I would say is our ideal customer, and not that we shy away from any, but um, just definitely more cautious when it comes to that security and compliance aspect of it. Just because there's people who are already doing it, so we don't need to necessarily reinvent the wheel if somebody's doing what somebody's coming to us for.
gotcha. So this may be a bit of a loaded question, and I may know kind of where you're going to go based on a past answer. But where are you guys looking to be with the business in say 3, 5, or even 10 years down the road? It's such a fast-moving industry. It's probably hard to make that kind of a picture, especially farther down the road, right?
Yeah, I mean, really, the number one goal right now is to get Terran out and blow it up as fast as possible. Being able to get some market share there, so that way we can start integrating and become on the go high level app store, right? Things like that where we can get more exposure, but that all comes from just having trust and validity in the market. So that would be our number one, probably. Outside of that, it's really just finding more partners that we can find unique products to fix a unique issue.
Let me follow up with you on something there, though, because you mentioned something. So you're putting your products on like various CRMs marketplaces.
Not yet, but we will be for any of them that do offer that. Go High Level is probably, I mean, maybe the only one we actually will end up doing it with.
It's a pretty popular one right now. So
Yeah, and it's one of the easier ones to get onto because they're less closed off from what I've seen so far, but I could be wrong by that. But yeah, I mean that's always an option at the end of the day. We want to have the name out there. We want to build a brand around BetterFlow and Terran, especially so that people see us as like that source of information and that trustworthy company out there in the market in terms of software. So where we want to go, I mean, we want to the moon. We want to go to the moon. I wouldn't say there's really a reach. The bare minimum, we want to be able to support our families, support ourselves financially, and then potentially look at an exit if is what it is. We're not putting anything off the table, but it all depends over time. But it's going to be building out other products, figuring and just meandering as we go. Because I know where we're at right now, 6 months down the road, we'll probably say that we took another switch in a slightly different direction. Not completely, but maybe had to take a little diversion away from the path that we're going down right now. Um, just because that's the way, like you said, that's the way the industry is. It's moving quick at the end of the day. Um, we're just figuring it out as we go day by day, building products that we know we want to use and we've spoke to other people and they want to use and they see as valuable. So that way we can just know that at least it's something that's worthwhile for people to purchase. And if something else comes out that's better, great. We can adjust. We can find a new product potentially, but we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves into one area, like a subsect of the market. And and there's just too much business out there to be had. that I still believe, even if there's other options, we can create something that finds a piece of the market just because we've created something that solves a problem that maybe others didn't.
Yeah, yeah. I want to say, I may screw this quote up, but I want to say it was in a Jim Collins book that most companies don't die of starvation, they die of indigestion. Right. So you have to watch out for the opportunities that come your way, and because there are plenty of opportunities, you just have to you need to pick the right ones and not overload yourself trying to chase too many rabbits, so to
Yes.
speak.
And it really comes down to having the right partners, I think. Because I mean, I was in life insurance for a year and a half. I know the business pretty well, but would I say that I should lead a project on a new software for life insurance? I can't say that because I haven't been there for 10, 15, 20 years, seen how the market developed and every little intricacy of the business. So we always want to partner and find the right people that have very in-depth industry knowledge. They've worked it from multiple sides of their industry, both especially if they've worked as an employee and then started their own business. Worked with small guys, big guys, whatever it may be. That's really where we want to go and how we are able to keep moving forward. Because say we release X, Y, and Z product and it goes well for a couple months, but then kind of just teeters off. If we have these partners that have this in-depth industry knowledge, we can always find something new to go after and to be able to continue moving our business forward until we find that final thing, right? Eventually, it's really just, yeah, we want the first thing to blow up. That's what everybody wants. But if we can just get ourselves to that next checkpoint where then we can get something else and see what is going to be that final solution that the market really takes to, then we can go all in on that at that point. But it just takes trying out as many different things as possible right now. And but I think that's how you build a long-term business. At the end of the day, there's a lot of people that they do the AI courses and they sell Facebook ads or whatever it may be. But as we've seen, a lot of those agencies type people kind of go in and out. And the successful ones switch businesses. They switch industries. They go from AI to Facebook to whatever it may be is the next thing that comes out. But they keep working and moving on to the next piece to figure out where is my final niche, where's my final market that I can capture, and I don't need to go anywhere else. But if you just stay in one area and that's the only skills you have and you think that's going to be the end all be all, you're going to get cut out of the market eventually. Even the printing press went out of style at one point. So it's just continuously be open to opportunities, but there's obviously, you got to have that evaluation of, is this something that's really worth our time or not?
So tell me about your hobbies. What do you do for fun?
So, I mean, I love watching sports. I'm a big sports guy. I grew up playing baseball. So, and then I made the natural transition to golf after that.
He's a golfer.
Yeah, there we go.
Next to golfer. He's looking for partners to play golf with. Try to get back.
Hey, I'm in the same boat. I'm not a great golfer, but I enjoy it. I enjoy being outside. I went to school in the middle of nowhere, so I gained a big appreciation for nature during that time because all we had to do was, if we weren't practicing or in class, had to walk around the trails and walk around the town and whatever, go to a state park nearby, whatever it may be, so that way you just had something to do, not just rotting in your house.
In upstate New York.
Yep.
Yeah. It's beautiful countryside up there, that's for sure. So
it is. I mean, I'll argue with many people that my baseball field for 1 week of the year in the fall when the leaves are the most vibrant, best view in Division III baseball that I could have gotten.
I bet. I believe that. What are some of your favorite golf courses?
So up in Rochester, one of my favorites is Ravenwood. It's actually a top 10 public course. Usually, a lot of the times it's ranked in that top 10, top 15 in New York. Beautiful course. Down here, I would say I played Wildcat. It was awesome. That was a fun course. And then Gus Wortham. I think
I've never played there. I remember you mentioned.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like overpriced, not super cheap. So they take really good care of the fairways, greens. A lot of the time, it's a golf course. It's not just like one long fairway, like some of the cheap courses that you get. But it's a fun course. It's a fun track. You can play it 10 different ways. I feel like when you go 10 different times, so it's really exciting because you can, if you just don't want to pull out the driver that day, hey, you don't need to. Might be useful depending on how you shoot, but you can play it so many different paths. So it's a fun course.
Josh, tell me a little bit about the journey that a client might go through. Starting as from being a prospect with you guys all the way up to being, is initially signing on as well as perhaps even beyond that as being a customer for a month or two or even a year long.
Yeah, so when we first start out, we'll meet in person, Zoom, whatever it may be, and really just dive into their business, figure out what are the pieces of their business that they want automated, what do they not want automated, right? Because you want to keep that human connection in certain areas where it's possible. So where what is not working in your current software? Is there something that the way that it flows through the system, data has to flow and be input? Is it unnatural points of the process? Say if you're running a warehouse, does the software want you to track inventory before you grab the product or after? And what do your employees, how do they actually want to do it? So depending on the size of the business, it might be going in and speaking with some of the managers as well, not just the business owner, to get an understanding of what is this project really going to look like. So that's our first meeting, is figuring out what is it going to actually be? What's the scope of the work that we're going to do? We go back, me and my partner, we figure out, hey, is there any research we need to do? Is there compliance we need to handle? Come back in a second meeting and we give them our take on what our discussion was last time. It's not always perfect. There's going to be miscommunications of, no, we mentioned X, Y, and Z piece of it, or tool, but we didn't really need it. So, okay, no worries. We'll take that out and just readjust on that. But sometimes somebody says, oh no, we actually wanted X, Y, and Z thing that we maybe underplayed, and now it's going to add a whole different aspect to the project that we have to go reevaluate. So usually, I mean, on the third call at the latest, we're going to be able to then give the price, explain the process. But we're kind of throughout that second and third meeting explaining what it's going to look like for on our end and then for them as well. Because what we do is, while we're in the development process, once somebody signs, we're going to schedule a meeting at minimum bi-weekly. But a lot of the times every week we'll meet with them for even just 15 minutes, just to show them, hey, this is what we did. How does it look? How does it feel for you? Play around with it. And now you know that, hey, we are putting work into it. We're not just sitting around and doing minimal hours to try to scam the system kind of on how many hours that, because we do it all based on hourly billing. But it's predetermined by us, not as we go. So we're going to be there throughout the process. Once we actually get the product done, onboard, implementation, training for you and your whole business. So it looks different in every business. That could be classes. It could be educational videos that we record with the business owner. It all depends on how their structure is and what's really required. Obviously, some jobs within a business don't require as much hands-on training as others with software. So we'll go in, do the onboarding, implementation, and really dive into the business as a whole so that everybody is on the same page. Because the number one reason software becomes useless is nobody uses it. Not that it's not good, it's just nobody uses it. Once we actually onboard you and implement you, then at that point, every business owner has their own choice. Do they want to buy the intellectual property of the product? Obviously, that comes at a premium doing that. Or do they want to have us stay on as a fractional development team for them? We'll be in there debugging any changes within the scope of the original project completely free. So if you have your CRM built out and you don't like the way your pipeline is actually functioning now, we'll go in and change that for you, because we promise to deliver a perfect product for your business. So we want to stand to that. If we're adding as you're like a business that's scaling and we're adding different sections to it, that will come with a development cost, but very discounted at that point. Um, but we're going to stay on with you. Any debugging, customer complaints, whatever it is that we can help with, we're going to be there to assist your business. And that's where businesses that are scaling love working with us, because they only have to deal with the same people that they've dealt with since day one. And they don't have to give us context to their business every time we meet. We know where they started and where we're trying to go. We're not a different sales rep that they've met between 5 different companies that they have to re-explain their goals and where their business in the context of how they got there. So that's really what it looks like. We like to be very hands-on and be involved in the process with the business owner, because it comes down to, we're here to create custom software, so it should be around your business. It should be perfect, really, is the way I like to go for it, is should be perfect. Now, there's going to be bugs. It's going to happen, but we get all that feedback sent right to us, and we're going to debug that within a few hours, typically. Yeah. So right now we do a lot with LinkedIn and Instagram content. We're not as much on the paid marketing side at the moment. I just don't see the return on the investment as much as it used to be, because everything is an ad nowadays. You scroll down a social media feed, even the non-paid ads or paid ads with somebody promoting a product. So I think that some of that kind of gets lost in the mix. So we're really working on building our brand and building up a community behind us that we can work off of, as opposed to just throwing money at Facebook ads. So we also do our best optimizing Google business profile, SEO, those little things that can get you an extra click here or there. And then we're going to be, I mean, we've done the research on it, but we're starting to work more into implementing for AI engine optimization, AEO. So that way, whenever there's a search about custom software, we can be one of those links that's coming up as the reference, as one of those software companies to go to. And we really just want to be a source of information online. So we want to be here as people that you can trust are giving you accurate statistics, data, and insights into where the market's currently at and what's happening in AI and tech and what its capabilities are, because there's so many people out there talking about it. It can be hard to really trust someone. So being on a podcast like this, people get to see me and be like, okay, hopefully they trust me after this. But then they can, yeah, exactly. So if they can trust me, then they can trust our brand, that we're giving them proper information, and being able to just, again, be that source of information for people. And one of my favorite things is just somebody simply reaching out and asking me, hey, how do I do X, Y, and Z? Or is that something that I really think would help their business? And just giving them yes or no, this is how I would do it. No consultation fee. Just reach out to me and ask, because I know that if I'm your source of information, we're going to find a way to be a partner together, no matter what. It doesn't mean that you're a client, doesn't mean that you refer me, but we're going to find a way to help each other out. And it might just be that I call you one day for work for our business, or somebody in my personal life, and now you're going to give me the best service you possibly will, and that's all I can ask.
Well, I will tell you just a funny story as we close out the show for today. Is I can remember one client in particular. They knew what I did, and I'd see him at events and just grocery store or whatever. We were always friendly, and just totally out of the blue. And I never pushed what we do. We may have talked about it a little bit, but he's like, I think I'm finally ready to use you for my accounting. So it's kind of like one of those things that you just never know where it might come. And because when you plant those seeds, you don't know which ones are going to sprout, and sometimes you don't know when they'll sprout, and then eventually become a client if you've got that that helpful nature about you. and I'll say this too. I mean, I never get upset when a client leaves or anything like that because I've had them come back,
Yeah.
right? It's like, so, we just always try to keep the best interest of the business in mind, and understand that clients are always doing really one thing. They're making decisions based on what they believe to be the very best thing for their business. And if that means it's without you, then hey, so be it. And if it's with you, then hey, that's even better, right? So it sounds like we kind of have the similar experience
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
right?
And that's why I love networking
Yeah,
too,
me too.
because you're able to go out there and people will ask you questions on the spot. And now you have an instant relationship and rapport that's built that you can now start to work off of. But it's just it's that personal touch. Like that's the part that a lot of businesses are missing nowadays, and they're shifting away from. But the way I see the market going is the people who keep that personal touch, they're gonna explode over the coming years because that's what everybody's searching for.
I'll say social media is helpful too. And you mentioned it earlier, but I will tell you this is, and I've got to hand a lot of kudos there to Nick for helping me with some of this, but I have actually had people, I've been to networking events, right, where I've had, the last one I went to, I had three strangers walk up to me and say, I love your stuff. I see you on social media all the time. And I love that
Yeah.
because it makes, they already know, I may not know them, but they know me well enough and they're comfortable enough to have that conversation, which is just, that's just gold, right?
Yeah.
It's a wonderful way to an in-person relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Josh, thanks so much for being
Thank
on
you,
the
Mark.
show. I really, really appreciate it. So thank you guys for watching. It's just so you guys know, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, as well as Apple Podcasts. And can't wait to see you guys in the next episode.